Hello everyone, I'm Amir and you're watching the saddest of your shadow. This is part 3 of my trip to Moscow. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, you can find them on my channel. In this video, we'll visit Sokolniki Park at the historic center of Moscow. You also see a really cozy atmospheric cafe, but first let's have breakfast. So, let's go! Today's breakfast is simple but delicious. For breakfast today I have porridge prepared in a takeaway coffee cup, a sandwich, an apricot and, of course, a cup of tea. Everything is really delicious. Now let's continue exploring Moscow. Our journey actually started the day before near the monument to the work and kolkhoz woman. I couldn't include it in the previous video because it was already too long. Now we're heading to Sokolniki Park by tram. We're taking a special tram route today. It's considered one of the most scenic tram rides in Moscow because it rides right through Sokolniki Park, surrounded by trees. It almost feels as if you've entered a forest. Before the internet, when it wasn't easy to find information about a city's landmarks or beautiful places, my grandfather had his own way of getting to know a new city. Whenever he arrived somewhere new, he would simply get on a tram and ride the entire route from one end to the another. Looking out the window, he would observe the streets, neighbors, and everyday life. Then he would do the same with several other tram routes. By the time he left, he had surprisingly good understanding of the city. Even though those days are long gone, we decided to do the same. I think it's a fascinating way to explore a place because you get to see the city through the eyes of the locals. I think there's something special about riding the tram. Listening to the rhythmic sound of the wheels gently gliding along the tracks and watching the scenery pass by creates a feeling of peace. It's a chance to slow down, relax and simply enjoy the journey. Right now we're passing through the park. Moscow's trams are very modern. They are almost completely silent, which I think is a bit of a downside because I love listening to the rhythmic sound of the wheels on the tracks. On the other hand, they have excellent air conditioning. When it's plus 26 degrees outside, it feels like plus 15 degrees inside the tram. We've just gotten off the tram and now we're standing near the entrance to the park. Now we're in the wider part of the park. I really enjoy visiting parks in different cities. Each one has its own unique character, but they all have one thing in common: nature. It's a place where you can slow down, relax, and take a break from the hustle and bustle of city life. These are the kinds of trams you can see running along the streets and tracks of Moscow. I really enjoy simply standing and watching trams and trains go by. Now we're walking through the main part of Sokolniki Park. I would like to tell you a little about its history. Sokolniki is the oldest park in Moscow and also one of the largest urban parks in Europe. In the past, back in the 15th century, this area was covered by a vast dense forest where royal and grand princely falcon hunts took place. This is exactly how the area got its name Sokolniki, which comes from the Russian word for falconers. The park was especially loved by Peter the Great and Alexander the First. The emperors enjoyed spending time here, organizing large receptions and celebrations. For this purpose, Peter the Great ordered the creation of a wide path through the forest, which has survived to this day and is known as the May clearing. In the 1840s, the territory of the grove was redesigned and this layout has largely remained until today. However, during the years of revolution and the Civil War, the area fell into decline and became neglected. In 1931, Sokolnicheskaya Grove officially became a city park. From that moment, the territory began to be renovated and improved. Soon after the reconstruction, a concert hall, restaurants, cafes, a dance pavilion, amusement rides, and many other facilities appeared here. In 1959, the newly built pavilions and exhibition center hosted the first international exhibition of American industrial products in the history of Russia. This is the main square of Sokolniki Park. These balloons mark one of the festival areas of summer in Moscow. They are only here during the summer season. Summer in Moscow is a large citywide festival project that brings together more than 500 locations across all districts of the capital. It takes place from May until the beginning of September. Each festival area has its own unique design and atmosphere. Now we are leaving Sokolniki Park and heading to Sokolniki Metro Station, the first station ever opened in the Moscow Metro. This is a monument to the metro builders. These unusual structures you can see around the city are actually part of the Moscow metro ventilation system. This beautiful building is a fire station. Now let's enter Sokolniki metro station. The station was opened on May 15th, 1935 as part of the first line of the Moscow metro, which connected Sokolniki and Park Kultura stations. As I mentioned earlier, Sokolniki was the very first station of the Moscow metro. The first metro line was named after it, the Sokolnicheskaya line, also known as the Red Line. This is the end of the previous day. The next scenes will be from today. It's morning now and we're going for a walk around the Chistye Prudy area. I've visited many different neighborhoods in Moscow and this one is my favorite. Why? Because there are no huge highways or busy main roads here. Only narrow, quiet streets with a special atmosphere. We've entered this neighborhood. Look how narrow this building is. This is the famous Egg House. The Egg House on Mashkov Street is one of the most unusual private mansions in Moscow. It was built in 2002 in the Chistye Prudy area and immediately attracted attention with its unique shape and design. This is the children's musical theater of the young actor. One of the things I love about the Chistye Prudy area is its unique and unusual architecture. Every street has something interesting to discover. I would like to tell you the story of the Chistye Prudy area. Literally, translated Chistye Prudy means clean ponds. According to one version of the story, in the 17th century, the place where the modern Chistye Prudy pond is located was known as Pogane Bolota, which can be translated as dirty swamps. It was actually the same pond, but at that time it was polluted and unpleasant and had a bad smell. At the end of the 17th century, Alexander Menshikov, one of the Peter the Great's closest associates, bought land in this area. He ordered the pond to be cleaned and strictly prohibited people from polluting it. After that, the area received the name Chistye, meaning clean. This is the famous Chistye Prudy pond. This is a famous house with animals. Look closely and you'll notice many different animals depicted on its facade. There are animals on the stair railings as well. This white gazebo is one of the festival installations I mentioned earlier. It's part of the city's Summer in Moscow festival. Look at this beautiful yellow tower. I think the Moscow Seasons festivals have made the city even more beautiful, welcoming, and interesting. Don't you agree? I really like neighborhoods like Chistye Prudy. They are cozy, quiet, peaceful, and full of character. I think every city should have places like this, where you can slow down, enjoy the atmosphere, and take a break from the noise of everyday life. This is the famous tea house in the Chistye Prudy area. With its beautiful Chinese-style facade, it is one of the Moscow's most recognizable historic buildings. It was built by the Perov family, who became known as the Tea Kings after selling tea in Russia for generations. Originally, the mansion was designed in the Renaissance style, but before the coronation of Nicholas II, it was transformed into its distinctive Chinese appearance to impress the Chinese statesman Li Hunjian, who was expected to visit Moscow. Although he never came, the building became one of the city's most famous landmarks. Now we are leaving this wonderful neighborhood and heading to a cafe with a unique interior to have breakfast. Actually, this isn't a cafe, it's a cafeteria. The difference is that the food is already prepared and you simply choose whatever you'd like to eat. Just look at how many different dishes they have. We are going to have a traditional Russian breakfast: porridge, a blini pancake, an omelette, and coffee. Well, the coffee isn't exactly traditional. It's usually served with tea instead. Let's make a cappuccino using the coffee machine. Look how beautifully this restaurant is decorated. Its design is inspired by the dreams of the future that people had in the 18th century. There are balloons everywhere, and there is even an airship inside. Even the tables are decorated with images of balloons. Now let's try the porridge cooked with milk. Oh, it's so delicious! Did you notice that this balloon moves up and down? In this bowl there is an omelette. It's so fluffy and light. I've never tried anything like this before. And finally, let's try the pancake. It's so soft and delicate. The decorations are truly amazing. I've never seen anything like this before. The cafeteria is located on the top floor of the shopping center, so the windows offer a beautiful view of Moscow. Look at these little toys decorating the hall, they are so cute. The cafeteria is called Grabli. The name means rake in Russian. This is a chain of cafeterias and there are many of them across Moscow. This one is located on the top floor of the Central Children's Store shopping complex. However, this location has the most interesting and unique design. The interior makes this place really special. Now let's explore the Central Children's Store, or CDM, and I would like to tell you its history. The story of the Central Children's Store on Lubyanka began in 1953. The country's main children's department store was built on the site of the demolished Lubyansky Passage. The grand opening took place on June 6, 1957, during the International Festival of Youth and Students. At that time, CDM became the largest children's store in the Soviet Union and the first shopping building in the country to have escalators. The store offered everything children could need: toys, school uniforms, cameras, and creative supplies. In 2017, the Central Children's Store celebrated its 16th anniversary. Over the years, it has become much more than just a shop. It became a symbol of happy and carefree childhood for many generations. Today, CDM is 69 years old and remains one of Moscow's most beloved landmarks. This is Baba Yaga's residence. Baba Yaga is one of the most famous characters in Russian fairy tales. She is a central figure in Slavic folklore, a forest witch and a powerful sorceress. In many stories, she appears as a dangerous villain who kidnaps children, but in others she becomes a wise mentor who tests the main character and helps them on their journey. I am standing inside her famous hut right now. The hut on chicken legs. In Slavic mythology, this magical house was a kind of border between the world of the living and the world of the dead. According to ancient beliefs, such huts were placed on tree stumps with cut roots to protect them from evil spirits. In fairy tales, the hero usually asks the hut to turn its back to the forest and its front to me, before entering the magical world and facing challenges. We've left CDM and now let's take a look at its magical fairy tale windows. This is Baba Yaga's house. We're leaving this beautiful shopping center and continued our journey. Look at these gates, they look so majestic. Just like in many other parts of Moscow, the city center has very wide avenues. For me, that's one of the biggest downsides of the city, because there's almost always traffic, and it's hard to find a quiet place. One of the best things about the city center is the incredible number of beautiful churches and cathedrals. You can find them almost everywhere you go. This is the Moscow Polytechnic Museum. Take a look at the ground level of the building. What appears to be the first floor, built of red brick, is actually below the current street level. A few years ago, before the restoration, this part wasn't visible at all. During the museum, architects removed later additions and uncovered the original basement and lower levels, restoring spaces that had always been part of the historic building. That's the official explanation. However, there's also an alternative theory. According to it, an ancient catastrophe, sometimes described as a massive meteor impact, buried the lower floors of many old buildings. Supporters of this idea point to similar buried buildings in cities such as St. Petersburg. There is no historical or archaeological consensus supporting this theory, and mainstream historians attribute these features to change in street levels, urban development, and later construction over the centuries. In the end, everyone is free to explore different ideas and decide what they find most convincing. Personally, I find the alternative history theory fascinating. This is a monument to Saints Kirill and Methodius, the creators of the Slavic alphabet and the founders of Slavic literacy. Look at how thick this fortress wall is. Look at this, it's truly a street of churches. I think it's wonderful when a city has so many churches. They give the city a unique character and make it even more beautiful. That's one of the reasons I love Moscow. I'm from St. Petersburg, and although it's a beautiful city, it doesn't have as many churches as Moscow. The same is true for Krasnodar. That's one of the things that makes Moscow stand out to me. Now we're walking through Zaryadye Park. Zaryadye Park opened on September 9, 2017 in the historic center of Moscow. It was the city's first new public park in more than 50 years. The park brings together four of Russia's natural landscapes: tundra, steppe, forest, and floodplain meadows. Before the park was built, the site was occupied by the enormous Rossiya Hotel, which was demolished in 2010. Here's a photo of what it looked like. Zaryadye Park offers beautiful views of Moscow. This is the Moskva River, the main river of the Russian capital. One of the best things about Zaryadye Park is that you can see Red Square from here. If you look down, you'll notice all kinds of interesting patterns made from the paving stones. Look at these beautiful strawberry flowers. This part of the park recreates a forest landscape. And here is the famous St. Basil's Cathedral. We're not going to visit Red Square this time because it has already been featured in countless videos. Besides, I showed it in my Moscow travel video from last year. If you'd like to see it, you can find that video in my Moscow playlist. This is the Spasskaya Tower. This is GUM, the main Universal store. We are going to go inside now. While we are inside, I would like to tell you its history. During the reign of Catherine the Great, there were rows of small shops on this site where people could buy food and various goods. It was only at the end of the 19th century that construction of the upper trading rows began. The foundation was laid in 1889, and the official opening took place 4 years later. The building was designed in the Russian Revival style with beautiful glass ceilings and even its own power station. Today, GUM is not just a shopping center, it is one of the symbols of Moscow. Look at how beautifully the escalator is decorated. It looks like an antique chest of drawers. I think the interior of GUM is absolutely beautiful. It feels completely different from modern shopping malls. It has its own unique atmosphere and charm. We arrived during an ice cream festival, so you can see ice cream everywhere. In the center of GUM there is a fountain, but now it has been decorated to look like a giant ice cream. Now we're leaving GUM and continuing our journey. All these beautiful places are located near Red Square. This church is absolutely beautiful. This is the Heroes of Fairy Tales fountain. It is part of the famous complex of 12 fountains on Manежная Square, opened in 1997 to celebrate Moscow's 850th anniversary. The bronze sculptures of Russian fairy tale characters were created by the famous sculptor Zaryadye. The water cascade represents the course of the Neglina River, which flows underground beneath the square. The Neglina is one of Moscow's most famous underground rivers. It is a left tributary of the Moskva River, and it is about 7.5 kilometers long. Almost its entire length runs through underground bricks and concrete tunnels. In the early 19th century, because of city development and frequent floods, the river was enclosed underground. It became the first Moscow river to be hidden beneath the city. Now we're walking toward Arbat Street. This is the mansion of Arseny Morozov. This unusual building appeared thanks to a man whom his contemporaries considered a real eccentric. The inspiration for the mansion was found during travels across Europe. The house was built between 1897 and 1899. Look at this huge samovar. This is where the entrance to Arbat Street begins. This is a metro station building. A samovar is a traditional Russian tea-making device used to boil water and prepare tea. Look at this church standing among the high-rise buildings. It's so beautiful and elegant. We are entering Arbat Street through a side entrance. Arbat is the most famous pedestrian street in Moscow. Originally, it was an important road leading to Smolensk. The name Arbat, first mentioned in historical records in 1493, is believed to come from the Arabic word Rabat, meaning suburb or outskirts. At first, craftsmen lived here. Later, the area became home to the aristocracy, and by the end of the 19th century, the street became a favorite place for writers, artists, and intellectuals. This is a food delivery robot. You can see many of them around Moscow. This house looks like an izba, a traditional Russian wooden house. This house is simple on one hand, but at the same time it is very beautiful. This house looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale. Do you like Moscow? Let me know in the comments. It was a great walk today, but now it's time to return to our rented apartment in Moscow. We will continue exploring this amazing city in the next part. King dinner. For dinner today I'm having a salad with cabbage, green onions and honey mushrooms, along with rice with peppers and breaded fish. Everything is so delicious. It was a wonderful day. We started with a walk through Sokolniki Park, then visited one of Moscow's most beautiful neighborhoods, Chistye Prudy, and finally explored the very heart of the city. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, to leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!